As a professor in world politics, I get excited when world leaders invoke the concepts at the heart of the discipline of international relations. So Xi Jinping warned Donald Trump when they met that they shouldn't fall into the Thucydides trap. What's this all about? Thucydides wrote the history of the Peloponnesian Wars a very long time ago, so why invoke it now? This reveals the structure of the world hasn't actually changed much at all. Number one concept in world politics is anarchy, by which we mean there's no world government to enforce rules and laws. Now, governments create institutions such as the UN and laws such as the Geneva Conventions in an effort to reduce the risk of war and make sure states behave themselves. But the risk of war remains ever present, and when the great powers act as great irresponsibles, such as the US invading Iraq or Iran, or Russia invading Ukraine, there's not that much the states can do about it. Now, face-to-face meetings between rulers is important because it helps establish trust even between enemies. For example, in the 1980s, Reagan meets Gorbachev and they build bonds of trust between one another, even though they're two fundamentally opposed enemies at the time. And this reduced the risk of nuclear war, which benefited everyone on planet Earth. So if you live on planet Earth, then the meeting between Trump and Xi Jinping is actually really important for you. Xi Jinping invokes the trap at the heart of the Peloponnesian Wars to warn of two things. The first is the security dilemma. States fear one another, mistrust one another, and they can end up going to war with one another even though they never wanted to go to war. The second is that, to go back to the Peloponnesian Wars, the greatest powers on Earth can lose war because of hubris and overconfidence. Does that sound familiar to you? And of course, Taiwan looms large, as this is the number one issue for Xi Jinping in U.S. China relations. And this is why it all comes back to anarchy, because we live in a world where about 8 billion people are now dependent on two world leaders figuring out an answer to this problem. If they can't do this, they may end up going to war with one another, even if their intention was never to go to war with one another in the first place. And this could be the greatest war the world has ever seen. Personally, I'm hoping that nuclear deterrence stops this war from ever taking place.